So supers, we might check those on the way out, but we're not interested on them really on the way in. We'll get a judgment of weight.
So using the Hive tool to loosen.
Just to sort of crack the propolis, which is always very glued together. And now the top's open. Smoke them down a little bit. Just loosen that. And sometimes it's better just to twist it. I can see they've drawn brace comb just to join the two bits up. So
Right.
check for the queen. And she's not on there. Put that down near the entrance just so if you have missed her, she's got a short route back in. Sometimes if they're tight, the J tool lifts easier than the other one. And you can just check the queen's not on it. Knock any bees off, pop that down. And then we're off. Out of frame. Nothing.
Last week we moved the frames around on this one.
Sometimes you shuffle them around a little bit. Often not much once you're into the brood patch. So there's a little bit of weight in there, a little bit of honey, a couple of cells of mouldy old pollen, probably from back of last year.
So there's honey going in.
A little bit of sealed honey,
Yeah.
a little bit of unsealed honey, a little bit of pollen in the middle, but it's not.
No eggs or brood.
No, nothing in that.
No.
I think this colony was on about 5 frames of brood last time, so we might find on the next frame or possibly the one after. Okay, there's brood there again, and there's the queen.
Oh.
So she's mooching around on this outer frame.
So she's reached frame 3.
Yeah. And she'll mooch around the whole time looking for eggs. So again, there's a bit of drone brood on here. And she's been doing
any eggs or larvae?
I've got my wrong glasses on at the moment, so I can just about to see larvae, but I can't see eggs, so I'm quite glad I've seen the queen. I'll go and change my glasses after we've done this one. So we've always been a little bit with this one. There's just a tad too much drone.
Yeah.
So I suspect somewhere in her sort of background, she wasn't quite as well mated last. There's a couple of queen cups there. Saw one on the last frame, a couple of ones on this one.
Yeah.
My suspicion is that this colony will chug along. It may have a go at some point in replacing its queen, because I'm not sure they're 100% happy with her. I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with her either. So she's fine, and she'll keep this colony ticking over. Absolutely, there would be no problems.
Yeah.
Would it be a very productive colony? No. Will it be a colony that's sort of guaranteed to get through the winter? Not guaranteed. So what is maybe a thought is either they'll get it together and actually move on to the next step and start having serious ideas about replacing her,
Yeah.
in which case we'll need to do something about it. Now often,
And by serious ideas, that would
you'd start seeing charged queen cells,
Right.
or the first step would be you'd see those little cups with an egg in,
Yeah.
and that would be a fairly good indicator.
Yeah.
So what
And because that's the decision to feed royal jelly over more than 3 days.
precisely? But
Yeah.
it's sort of they'll feed the once they put an egg in a queen cell which hangs vertically like the cups do, but extended.
Yeah.
Then that will be fed royal jelly the whole time until.
There's some larvae in there, I can see. If the camera can pick them up.
It'll be fed royal jelly the whole time until it's sort of sealed, and that's what makes her into a queen.
Yeah.
So we've got the cups. normally what you do if you see kind of them making 2 preparations to raise a new queen, you'd start to think about splitting the hive by one of the artificial swarm methods.
Yes.
If you've got a queen that you're not particularly happy with, do you necessarily want to split an already kind of not the world's strongest colony?
Right.
There's always 3 elements of swarm control. You've got the queen and the older foraging bees, and you've got the nurse bees and the brood. So those kind of three and a bit elements.
Yeah.
One way of splitting the 2 things is just to remove the queen.
Yeah.
Because it can't swarm at that point.
Right.
And it will start to raise new queens.
Right.
So with a queen that's kind of weak,
regicide.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You can either kind of take that, kind of go the full Monty and do that, or you could take the queen out, retire her to a nuke box, and just keep her as a working spare.
Yeah.
Keep her ticking over, keep her in a small colony, but let this colony regenerate a new queen.
Yeah.
Or you could, if you end up...
Could a new queen revitalise a lacklustre
She
colony?
could, yes. You could. I mean, you could buy in a new queen if you wanted to, and some people will do that. If you want to raise one of your own, you could hope that it's not the genetics that are the problem.
Yeah.
You could hope that it was just that she was late season.
Yeah.
When she mated, it wasn't she didn't get mated properly or fully.
Yeah.
That one was just a little bit longer, but it's still just a cup and empty. So you could force the process on yourself, or you could sort of let it unfold before you. The other option is if you get kind of towards late season, a lot of your colonies you've had to split and things like that, and you come through to late season, you think, which ones do I want to run through the winter? And if you've got a colony that's just ticking over steadily like this, you might think, I could put a lot of effort into trying to get it through winter, and it still might not make it. So you could nip the queen out of this one, unite it with another colony that you think's got a better chance, put the 2 together. One stronger colony might have a better chance than 2 smaller colonies. That's where the kind of options sort of start coming in.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a pattern here. We're into. I mean, it's not. We're only mid-May, but because this season started so early. The die's probably set for this colony in that it will be fine. Yeah. It will tick over as a small, steady little colony. It's not going to do anything dramatic. If you were in your 1st or 2nd year, it would be a nice little colony to have, because the chance of it swarming are relatively low. Yeah. It's not going to grow really big and sort of and test you too much. Not going to do anything terribly dramatic. It's got plenty of stores.
Heart-shaped, isn't it?
Often again they'll draw to the middle and fill out the edges eventually. But yes, it's a nice frame of stores. So they're fine for stores. They've got a laying queen. They've got all the things that you kind of want. Yeah. But it's not the world's strongest colony. So you can live with that.
Yes. Yeah.
And for where it is and the purposes of what we're using it for, to be honest, that's fairly much ideal. Yeah. Yeah. However, if you wanted it, if you were thinking of breeding from this colony, if you were relying on honey, this colony would probably be one you'd be going, do you know what? We'll probably need to do something with that. If I did take the queen out of this colony and I had a worry that it was the genetics of her that might be at fault, what I could do is, say from the colony next door, if I particularly like that one, I could take a frame of eggs out of that colony, take a frame out here and swap it over.
All right, so that would mix up the
genetics. And then the eggs that they would potentially draw, and I could knock the queen cells down on every other frame, but the frame I've put in, so I can change the genetics, let them raise queen cells, but let them do it on eggs that have come from a different hive. Right. And in that way I can change the kind of bloodline if you want. So that goes on. Actually, what we should probably do with that is as this brace comb builds up.
Yeah.
And when you do this, it's best if you do it vertically down the
Yeah,
wires. If you go
push it
across
away.
the wires,
Yeah.
there's always the chance that you'll bend them,
Yeah.
and then it won't work as a queen
Yeah.
excluder anymore.
Yeah. And they don't need that comb, do they?
They don't need it, they're just building it. Sometimes they build it when they're running. Sometimes it's an indicator if you lift the crown board off sometimes and there's brace comb everywhere, they're probably telling you that they're short of space.
Yeah.
And it would be a good idea to put another box on. But with that, they just don't like gaps over 6mm, so they tend to fill them.
Right.
It's just their way. So we put a second super on this.
We did?
Because it was bringing in some honey. The lower box I can feel has got some weight in it. The upper box was sort of just in case.
So we'll just start in the middle.
But they're not really working this at all.
No.
I mean, partly it's been a cold week, so it's not the best week to kind of judge it by.
Yeah.
And if we did get a bit of honey off of this, do you know, that'd be quite nice. But we're not going to get vast amounts.
No.
So I think we'll see what it does for the next couple of weeks. And then it's a question of maybe nipping the queen out. If this one started to look at swarming, I probably wouldn't want to make it into 2 colonies and try and salvage the queen. I'd probably just retire her.
Right.
Let them bring on a new one and see what it's like.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly sure that it's not going to give me any sort of surprises either, sort of good or bad.
No.